So, all right. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Boulous, it's an honor to host you and learn about your upcoming project, Watermelon Tours. Over to you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. I'll start sharing the screen as well. Tell me if you can see it.
Yes.
So firstly, obviously, thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity. And before putting these slides together, I spent some time looking at the work, Freedom Advocacy Network has already been doing, and I saw that you hosted multiple conversations about Palestine, the West Bank, the different political and economic reality that Palestinians live through. So I won't spend too much time talking about why Palestine matters. Instead, I want to focus on a question that I get asked all the time when I moved to Berlin and when I'm not in Palestine. Is lots of people ask, what can I actually do for Palestine? A lot of people genuinely want to help. They do donate, they share information and stories online, they attend different events, but they don't always know where their support is going or whether it's really reaching the right people, the people who need it, or even reaching Palestinians. So Watermelon Tours, I believe, is a great answer to that question because you can come to Palestine, meet Palestinians, listen to their stories directly, and not through different news outlets. You can stay in their communities, of course, support Palestinian families and different local businesses through a visit to Palestine. And instead of only hearing about Palestine from news and from a distance, you can experience it with the people who actually live there. You build relationships and you understand the differences between the different Palestinian communities, and you know exactly where your money is going. The first thing I want to say is that tourism is not neutral, especially under occupation. I saw this a lot with different agencies, with different guides, that the person holding the microphone kind of decides which history matters. So the route also decides which communities are seen, which communities just are completely invisible. The restaurants, drivers, hotels, guides, they all kind of decide who benefits from this visit. And I've seen it with my own eyes. I mean, we have plenty of tourists all the time, not now during the wars, but in general, just as I grew up here, someone can spend days in Jerusalem and the West Bank and see all the beautiful historic sites, or call them ancient sites. They can take hundreds of pictures and still kind of leave without meeting Palestinians or understanding Palestinian daily life. So I created Watermelon Tours from the idea that Palestinians shouldn't just be some kind of I don't know, like a scene in someone's story. They should be the guides, the hosts, and kind of the people leading the whole trip. And a Palestinian-led trip doesn't really pretend that every Palestinian has the same story or experience. That's very, very important. It really shows you the differences between the cities, the villages, the refugee camps, the different generations, the different communities. And the most important thing is that the journey will be Palestinians explaining their own lives in their own words. And the trip I'm building is, you're going to be sitting in people's homes, you're walking through the communities, you're sharing meals, you're hearing the stories, and of course, you're seeing the reality of Palestinian lives for yourself. The most important thing I want is people to leave with relationships, and a deeper understanding of Palestine through the Palestinians who actually live there. And for me, this is really personal. I mean, I grew up around Jerusalem and the Ram. It's a little village in the West Bank close to Ramallah, if you've heard of that one. So I grew up with checkpoints, with, whichever document you have decides where you can go. So places that look very close on a map take hours and hours to get to a certain place. Like I said earlier, I grew up watching people visit Jerusalem without understanding what was happening just a few kilometers away, with whether it be settlements, checkpoints, or what's happening in Gaza. Plenty of people come all the way here, but they meet the wrong people. I don't want to say wrong people, that's a bad way of putting it, but not Palestinians. and which stories they were hearing. There's a lot of also people who are not pro-Palestine who live here. So, and guides kind of focus on those people. It depends on what kind of guide they are. So, I really wanted to focus on who you're actually going to meet and which stories you're actually going to hear, and that's kind of where Watermelon Tours came from. Came from these questions, and I actually originally wanted to become a guide myself, but then the idea kind of became bigger than just me giving tours. I wanted to build a whole Palestinian-led journey that creates work, brings visitors into the communities, the Palestinian communities, and allows Palestinians themselves to explain their own lives in their own words. Now, before developing the trip, I spoke with plenty of people who had seriously considered visiting Palestine. I haven't updated this slide. I just see now it says 9. I've spoken to more than 9, but I didn't see that was not updated. My bad on that one. And they weren't one type of traveler. I interviewed some activists, some diaspora Palestinians, Muslims, Christians, secular travelers, some people who love history, some people who only wanted to understand life today. So plenty of answers were different, but there were 3 themes that came up again and again. People wanted meaningful time with Palestinians. They didn't want some kind of staged interaction. They wanted to understand the differences between communities rather than being given, just one story about Palestine. They also wanted honest preparation and support because fear and safety and uncertainty often is the main reason that stops people from visiting. And those conversations actually changed Watermelon Tours, those interviews, because the original idea I had was kind of having a marketplace where travelers could look through different guides and look through different activities, and they could pick what they want to do here. But I realized people don't want just a bunch of options and clicking and understanding which one's an expert in what. They wanted something just organized, the whole experience, just connecting them with the right people, answering the difficult questions that many people have about going into a war zone area, you could call it. I don't like calling it that because there's plenty of places that are extremely safe and not many people even know about them. But I realized just people want guidance throughout their journey, and that's what Watermelon Tours has become, which is me creating the whole trip and organizing everything. And obviously the places are important. They're very cool. They're thousands of years old. It's really a lot of history, but honestly, I believe meeting people is what makes any journey meaningful. It's what makes my trips anywhere I go more meaningful. And this trip obviously includes meeting Palestinian families, hosts, farmers, activists, refugees, camp residents, guides, young people, growing up in different refugee camps. So travelers, anyone coming on the trip with Watermelon Tours will meet people in their own homes and communities, share different meals with them, walk with them, hear stories about what they share about their lives. And this is really different from hearing someone else explain, Palestinians from far away and looking at news and thinking that's all Palestine is. Because I believe a conversation over dinner could tell you more than a whole day on a tour bus with an experienced guide. And spending time with a farmer can help you understand what access to land actually means in practice, how settlers affect daily life as a farmer. Meeting people in a refugee camp can connect you to understand the history of displacement, of how people are still living today in refugee camps. So, of course, the goal is not just to collect different stories, it's to just create this kind of human relationships and give Palestinians the control to share how their lives are presented, where I believe this is something worldwide that people always have an opinion about Palestine or about Palestinians, and it's very rare to hear Palestinians speak about their own stories, and you don't see them on the news or anywhere sharing what they want to share. So this is an opportunity to do just that. Again, there's no single Palestinian experience. Life in Jerusalem is very different from life in Ramallah. a village is obviously different from a city. A refugee camp has a whole different history and daily reality from a family home in Beit Omar. Hebron cannot be understood without being there. Personally, I've lived here my whole life. I've been to Hebron, been going since I was a little kid. And I remember I had a friend visit me from the UK, and I took him on a tour with a friend of mine who's a guide. I've known him for so long. And I remember learning so much on that trip. I was taking the trip for my friend, and I ended up learning so much about how different parts of Hebron, where the settlements are placed, how they're being affected on a daily basis. And these kind of things you cannot experience unless you go to multiple cities. And in occupied East Jerusalem, you'll hear about Palestinians and how Israeli residency policies affect them, how settlement expansions affect them, movement restrictions, different blockades at different times of the day and why they happen, sometimes without a reason, sometimes from a very, very small reason. Collective punishment is hit on all residents. And you really see just the threat of displacement, how that affects your daily life. In different villages and farming communities, you'll see how access to land. I said this a second ago, but like how it really shapes your livelihood, how it affects every day of your life. And in different refugee camps, you'll hear directly from these people about displacement, about the community, about their experience living in a place that's talked about worldwide, but rarely listened to by the people experiencing it. So yeah, it's just this trip. You're gonna meet a lot of different people, a lot of different communities, and understand all the differences between the different communities. Of course, one of the most important parts of the trip will be seeing the reality with your own eyes. So you will see an Israeli settlement. You're going to pass by it, and you're going to see how the West Bank next to a settlement looks like. You'll be able to look at both places, discuss the differences, look at the infrastructure, look at the brand new roads that are only used by Israelis, and how there's no freedom of movement for the Palestinian living right next to it. Um, and these are not really arguments, they're two communities located super close to each other, but they exist under completely different systems. There's no parks, there's nothing nice about what's happening in the West Bank, where anything that is looks kind of nice. Settlements are growing every day. And local Palestinians will obviously explain the context and show you how that affects their lives. I also don't think that 1 week will make someone an expert on Palestine. I just want them to leave understanding more than what they did before they came, to start questioning the simple narratives that they were giving, and obviously meeting Palestinians that they can continue developing a relationship after they return home. And one more thing is that each family experiences the occupation in a different way. It's very important to hear all the different stories. Um, and obviously, millions of Palestinians can be summarized, in 1 week. It's just you can, meet people with different backgrounds, faiths, politics, classes. Just have a better understanding of all the different realities that Palestinians face. And the trip will be obviously politically honest. We're gonna see the occupation. You're gonna talk about settlements, displacement, checkpoints, movement restrictions, refugee camps, just the reality that Palestinians are living through every day. But also, Palestinians can't just be reduced to suffering and occupation. That's not all we are. We have culture, we have food, we have music, we have humor, history, nature, just regular family life. So you will meet people as complete human beings. I don't want you to meet coming into this trip like you're just going to meet victims of a political situation. It's important to see people and as human beings. And Palestinians don't want to be viewed as just the suffering that the occupation puts on them. And obviously, a refugee camp is not really an attraction. As you look at the itinerary, you see refugee camp. It's not really like you're going to see the Eiffel Tower. It's a community where people live, and you'll be entering as a guest, of course, with consent and guidance and respect. but it's very important that you listen, before speaking, and treat someone's, let's say, not treat someone's pain as like just something to consume and just to take pictures of. So the trip is not going to hide the political reality. It's obviously going to be the main kind of topic of the tour, but it's also not going to be turning the suffering into a show or a movie. It's going to show the full reality, including the Palestinian life, the culture, the resistance, the hospitality, and the joy. Because one of my best friends says this, and she says joy is resistance as well, and that really touched me because she got married during the time of war. It was in October last year, um, and she wrote "Joy's Resistance." That really touched me because I really saw that we can still have fun, and that shows them that we're still human beings. We're still going to do what humans do, and that really is an important fact to see in the on this trip. And one thing also became very clear in the interviews that people were not visiting. That's not good English, but it's okay. People were not visiting because they lacked interest. It's because they were holding back because they didn't know what the trip would actually be like. They had so many questions. People ask me continuously, what happens at the airport? What if they know I'm an activist? How do checkpoints work? Who do I call if something goes wrong? What if the airport shuts down? What if Iran strikes while I'm there? What can I film? What happens if I get super sick? Is there good hospitals? What should I wear? Of course, what you wear is very, very important. So Watermelon Tours is going to answer all those questions before you even consider making the trip. Not consider, before you actually go ahead and book a trip. So travelers are going to have the guidance about what to expect, a person to contact throughout the whole journey. Of course, also people travel very differently. I got people who say I want full active days from 6 a.m. till the night. Others said I want quiet time. I need some flexibility. I need some time to step away from the group. So the main goal is just for people to feel prepared and supported without making the journey feeling kind of staged, feeling like it's just some kind of like 1, 2, 3, this is what we're doing, and then go home. But the main thing I would focus on is I want the trip to focus on the people rather than anything else. So this is the product now. I switched it up from what I had originally, where it's a marketplace and travelers look through different guides and tours and then organize everything else alone. Now it's a complete Palestinian-led journey. Before you arrive, there's preparation around the entry, the current conditions, the expectations. Of course, during the trip, we'll be coordinating guides, drivers, transport, the whole daily plan. You'll have real contact with host families, communities, organizations, and businesses. There's also flexibility in changing the route and customization for whoever wants it. I also want to be completely honest about the current stage. The website is live, the trip is ready. I have the guides already ready. They've been doing this for 20 years, so they're very experienced guides. The partnerships are ready. I have the places you'll stay, but I haven't had a first group yet. Obviously, the situation is not the best right now, but I'm still looking forward to when it opens up a little bit more. Iran situation chill a little bit, so people can actually come and experience Palestine. This is the trip I have now. It runs from Monday to Monday. It's 7 full days and nights. It starts in Jerusalem, the old city. Then you go to Bethlehem, Hebron, Nablus, Ramallah, Jericho, Beth Amar, Hebron. Then you go back to Jerusalem. I made this route with a guide as well who's been doing this route for a while. This shows you all the different Palestinian realities. And Jerusalem. Can you guys hear the background noise? Should I tell them to lower a little, or is it fine?
No, it's you're loud and clear, so it's negligible. It's
Okay.
okay. It's all good. Please
Okay,
continue.
excellent.
Thank you.
So Jerusalem, obviously, it's its own world. Jerusalem, I feel you could spend 2 weeks and still not fully understand it. I still sometimes have questions about it. The different things that different Israelis wear, the places, the different walls that were built on different times. So Jerusalem introduces so many questions of history, religion, Israeli control, and Bethlehem and Hebron show very different cities and different experiences of the occupation. Of course, Nablus, Ramallah, Riha, or Jericho add different political, cultural, and historical perspectives. Um, and lots of people, even Palestinians, don't even fully understand each Palestinian struggle. I'm sure. I mean, the first time I met people from Gaza was only when I lived in Berlin, and I met people, and they started telling me that me in Jerusalem, I have it worse because I'm facing the occupation directly. And I was like, absolutely no way. I mean, there's a lot of even within Palestinians, there's a lot of misunderstandings of how we each experience the occupation. And a friend of mine who speaks at many universities, he's a scholar, and he kind of summarized it very well by saying the occupation is not complicated. The way they do it is complicated. So he said it's simply a military occupation. It's just they're occupying everybody, but the depths they go into how they occupy each different part and make you divide each other and start hating on each other, that's what's complicated. That's what needs a little bit more understanding. And and they try to play on that, on an international level, on, oh, we give these people this and we do this, and if you're good with us, then we'll provide you with safety and so on and so forth. And I want you to experience the different places and how each place adds another layer. So these places in front of you are not just a list of different destinations. It's really a journey through different Palestinian communities. Um, and the most meaningful moments may happen obviously between the destinations. So staying with families changes the relationship. You're not just coming to take a picture and leaving. You're sharing your meals. You're having conversations. You're spending enough time with people to become comfortable with them and asking all the questions. Spending a few nights in Bet Omar means the village is not just a stop. You can start noticing different things like the pace of daily life. You can walk through the different communities, meet people, ask questions that you wouldn't be able to ask on a regular tour. So again, you're going to meet Palestinian guides, families, farmers, activists, refugees, kids, camp residents, and you'll be able to ask all the questions that you have about Palestine, how different places are different. And lots of people, when you leave, you remember the historical sites. They're very beautiful, but I feel like they're more likely to remember a long dinner or a conversation with a family, walking through a community, and just seeing the different reality than what you've seen in the news. And a very, very important point is you're supporting Palestinians directly. It's how this trip works. So all spending included in the trip stays with Palestinians. That means the guides, the drivers, the accommodations, the restaurants, the businesses, they're all what make the journey possible, and they are you supporting Palestinians directly. So travelers can see where the trip's money is going directly because they're meeting the people in the communities that are involved in the journey. Um, One thing I can't emphasize enough is this is not a replacement for political action or advocacy or giving financial or material aid, however you do so. But this is a way that you can support Palestinian livelihoods while also creating relationships with them and giving people just a more honest understanding of Palestine than what you see in the media every day. One of the biggest things that came up in the interviews is safety. Everyone's topic, everyone, that's all I spoke about in many of the interviews, and I think it deserves an honest answer. I'm not going to promise that everything is perfect and it's like any other country, and that can worry about that. Stop this call. Sorry about that. So yeah, I'm not going to promise that, like I said, conditions never change or pretend that everything is simple. But what we do or what I can promise, I'll say, is that preparation, local guidance, the communication and support you'll have will be top notch. So before the trip, travelers will get a call about any questions they have, the current conditions, the expectations, checkpoints, emergency contacts, where to film, what to wear, all that stuff. You can also find it on the website in the FAQ of the trip. On the road, guides and drivers who understand the reality coordinate everything, including transport, and decide when routes need to change. Um, of course, we'll be checking in throughout the journey, making sure you have the support you need. And of course, interviews showed me that safety is also an emotional thing. So I am prepared for that because safety isn't just like avoiding the dangerous places, it's also about trust, preparation, having less anxiety yourself about the situation that you're in. So I believe it will be a case by case scenario. But of course, you won't be going into areas that are dangerous or where settlers are present. You'll be more focusing on the daily realities of Palestinians. Currently, my ask is simple. If you yourself are considering visiting Palestine, even if it's a maybe or a thought that you have in your mind, I'd love to talk to you to understand, what excites you, what worries you, what would help you actually make the step. Because the interviews have already changed the project, and I want to keep listening. And even if you don't, but you do know someone who seriously thought about visiting, please introduce us. Also, if you're part of a mosque, a church, a solidarity group, a university, whatever type of community it might be that might be interested, I'd love a connection. And if the idea, speaks to you, you can share the website. I'm still at, beginning stages where, the conversations really matter. So any right introduction and the first travelers matter very much. The website, as you can see, is watermelontours.com. There's already the tours up there. So if you want to go more in depth of the tour itself and see each place, I didn't want to go too deep into that. You can do that yourself on the website. And yeah, that's it for me. I thank you for having me again. And if you have, any questions, I'd love to answer.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Um, Gardy had a
Oh,
question. Um, how is security managed, both physical security and ultimately the vetting of the people we would interact with?
I
And then
don't
we'll
understand what vetting means actually. What's vetting?
vetting means like checking people out. Like, let's say you're working with a particular tour guide, you check their background, you know who they are, ask your friends, family about them. Maybe you can ask the police to check in on them. Let's say for example, yeah.
Okay, so how security is managed is you'll be staying in areas that basically nothing has ever happened in. There's plenty of areas in Palestine where things have not happened. And I'm talking about areas in Jerusalem and areas also in the West Bank. What you see on the news is very focused areas that tension has been high for many years. And there's areas in the West Bank where, especially the tourist locations. So somewhere like the Nativity Church or somewhere in closer to different mosques, nothing happens there. Like it's extremely rare that something will happen there. So that's where the majority of the trips will be, as well as all these guides have been doing this job for like I said, decades, and they have access to know if something is happening, and they automatically will not go even close to somewhere where something might happen. Um, Sorry, I'm gonna just see the meaning of vetting because I don't really quite understand. Careful process of checking person's background coming into history. So checking if the guides are safe is the question.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah.
if they can be
The
trusted.
guides
Yeah.
the guides are people that I know personally, and I've selected them myself. They've been guiding for like I said, decades. They know the ground, they know everything, and the homes that you'll be staying with are all people that I know personally. It's not a random place I'll be sending to you. And of course, customization is available. So if you would rather not stay in a family's home and rather stay in a hotel in Bethlehem or somewhere else, everything could be customized as long as we speak in advance and coordinate what you'd like to see. You could also add different destinations. A lot of people said they wanted to add the Dead Sea. However, I have the reason I didn't put it on the trip is now I want to focus on Palestinians' daily lives. But of course, many people want to see, the only place that you can float on Earth. So of course that can be added. So customization is available if you decide on different locations or different experiences.
Thank you. We have a question from Colin and then Mohammed. Colin, please.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much, Boulous. Really appreciate it. I think it's what you're doing is brilliant.
Thank
I
you.
would love to come. I'm not flying at the moment because of TSA and um, ICE, and I only have a green card. So,
Understandable.
but it's brilliant. I just wanted to pick you up on something you said, and something that's been going through my mind recently. Is like you mentioned that you're politically honest, and
Uh-huh.
I can see that, and also like Salman with this forum here, like everything is politically honest and very factual and insightful, and it speaks of the nuances that are involved in the whole situation. But it seems to me like in a way that the whole issue is kind of like the climate crisis, in that you have people on one side who are giving you facts and insights and reality, and then the other side is willing to basically throw that out the window and give you organized, politically motivated propaganda. I'm kind of like, I'm looking from the outside in, right? And you're from the inside looking out, so it's a very different situation. Um, but I just wondered if you could comment on that, because like a lot of us in the West, like we you know we've got short attention spans, and a simple message, even if it's false, is much easier to sell than a complicated, long, nuanced message. You follow what I mean?
100%. 100%. And I'm honestly just as amazed as you are in terms of how there's still a split and how there's still people who don't quite get it. And unfortunately, the answer I'm going to give you right now is not something that some Palestinians like to hear, and some of my friends argue with me about this, but I feel like they're geniuses at what they do. They're incredibly smart at the way they put their propaganda out there. They target the right people. They have tons of money. They control all the largest tech companies in the world. It's a very, very difficult battle. It's not, and that's why I feel like coming here and meeting people and seeing the reality yourself will give you much more powerful conversations to have when you go back to your home country. So if you, yeah, they're indeed, yeah, they are experts at propaganda. They're good at what they do. They're very good, and they have the Islamophobia. It's their biggest card. They can always blame Islam. Oh, any terrorist attack, any blah blah blah. It's and it's so powerful that even some Palestinians living more in the north of Palestine actually are convinced that Israel is better for us than many situations. So, let alone how could you not be convinced in the West when even Palestinians who live here, who don't really much experience much of the military presence that people in Jerusalem, the West Bank, experience, including, I mean, my family's from up north. My parents are from up north, but I was born in the West Bank because my father taught here. So the experience that I have with the occupation is nothing like the experience that my cousins have. They speak Hebrew in their language. They're more like open to speaking to Israelis and just having a more and including myself, I was a bit more trying to like build bridges until they kind of showed their faces in the past few years a lot more. I wouldn't even I don't generally uh, I don't generally blame people. I just feel there's a lack of education and people who don't want to dive deeper and research more the realities, rather just want to watch a TikTok and be like, oh, I'm team this or I'm team that. Guys in the North, they're focused on their own situation rather than collective liberation, which is understandable. Uh, it's definitely understandable. I'm not here to judge anybody. Like, of course, it is, but it's gotten to a point where it's really not acceptable in my opinion. It's gotten to a point where they just aren't really. They've kind of numbed themselves from what Israel is doing. Kind of like, at least I have it good. Like, I have my education, I have my ability to travel freely. So why should I worry about others? Which is not something I like to accept, just because I have the privilege. I'm privileged as well. I mean, compared to some other people living in the West Bank and people who live in Gaza, I consider myself extremely privileged, which I always thought I shouldn't be complaining because other people have it worse. But to just focus on your privilege and not look at other people, especially your own people. I mean, not that that should have an effect, but seeing your own people suffering, and just because you were born 50 kilometers away, you get this full freedom, and then people living in Gaza are being bombarded every single day, and it's just like, oh, I have my education, I have my freedom to travel anywhere I want to, so I shouldn't worry about any other people. So I'm not. It's not something I like to see. It's not something that I feel we should accept.
Question from Mohammed, please.
Hi, Boulous. How are you
هلا
doing?
حبيبي. الحمد لله.
Well, when it comes to me and listening to these kinds of projects like you, it's amazing. I do have lots of things to talk about, to mention. You just remember me when I watched a YouTuber in Jerusalem. He's doing tours and vlogs in Dakhel, in the West
Yeah.
Bank and Jerusalem. I got upset, sad, and emotional saying that, holy shit, how we have this country and I can't go there to visit them. How we can have Hebron, Bethlehem, all of these cities, wonderful cultures, and I can't connect with my own people. You know what? It's given me such a feeling of being sad, upset. Anyway, you have said it. You have said that they have, and I do agree with you 100%. They have working on the propaganda and they have their government supporting them. So we here alone and we need to support each other. That's why I do believe from the moment I joined this event, I do connect with most people show up and spoke about their ideas. So I'm wondering if you have seen my presentation with Salman about Fidra. If you not, no worry, I can explain it after the meeting. I wonder if there is a sort of collaboration because you're really doing one of my dreams. You're really doing one of my dreams to get people. Every day I'm dreaming to get people and foreigners to join Gaza and to know about our cultures, to connect with people, to understand about us, to host them in our homes.
For
You
sure.
know this, Louis. You're a Palestinian and I'm a Palestinian in Gaza. We are very hospitality and
Number
we
one.
love to host. Yeah, we love to host people and to get them to share our food, to share our houses. So I do believe if there is a sort of collaboration between my project and your project, so we can a partnership, so we can grow each other and hold each other accountable and grow each other, inshallah.
I'd
And
love
if
that.
there is, yeah, if there is a sort of way to make it possible to bring it to Gaza, I'm a little bit sad because your project focus on Jerusalem, and I know Gaza is destroyed right now, but we still have cultures and many places to
Of
go.
course. I mean, I want to visit Gaza myself. I cannot. I mean, of course, if there's the opportunity, I'm also partnering with a friend of mine who created virtual tours of Palestine, and he's also in tech for Palestine. And basically, for many people in the diaspora who can't come to Palestine, I mean, this trip is mainly focused on European activists, United States activists, because I want them to see and come back with different stories and relationships. But it's very sad that some Palestinians I met in Berlin, mostly I recommended the virtual tours because they're unable to come, even though they've been there for 20 years. They have German passports, but as soon as they see a name that sounds Arab, they're not giving them a chance to visit Palestine or historical Palestine. And it's really sad. It's unfortunate. I mean, there's some things that I can't. I wish I could change, but I
Well,
mean, it is.
I know,
It is.
I know, I know it's impossible for you and for everyone to do it, but we need to find a sort of solution because Israeli army is controlling the borders, and from my since I was a child, I dreamed to travel and to visit cultures and when the war and during the genocide, the war, I was thinking about why I'm still here in Gaza. Suddenly, I got the wisdom that every obstacle and a challenge in front of me that preventing me from to go outside of Gaza is for a wisdom that Allah needs me to understand. I'm here to operate for my people. He put me here to operate for my people. So I, I I mean, Israel army is controlling the borders. They are pushing us from the old time. So I'm a little bit sad if we need to wait until the conditions are clear or something is easy. Nothing easy. It's doing more harder. So we do need to find a sort of way to do it, man.
Inshallah, inshallah. I mean, I'm open to listening and talking to you further. I didn't watch the video. I still want to look at your project, but of course, I'm always open to having conversations and seeing what kind of solutions we can work on together. And nothing is easy. Nothing here is easy. So it's,
Yeah.
we're used to that. We're used to that.
I have two questions myself. So one is, what are the rough range of costs for the 1 week tour that you mentioned earlier, Monday to Monday? And also, second
As of
question.
right,
Yeah, go ahead.
go
Okay.
ahead.
Yeah,
No,
please.
no, no, you go.
No, the
It's
second question is
approximate.
unrelated. So, yeah.
The approximate is around $2,000 a person for right now,
Okay.
covering the stays, the food with lunches. I don't think with dinners, but everything, including transportation, the guides, and everything in it. Of course, if someone, I will never reject someone because of their lack of financial capabilities. So if someone doesn't have the money, we will try to find ways of making the trip less cost efficient. But unfortunately, it's expensive here. It's getting way more expensive. It's absolutely insane the prices of some things right now. And so that's the approximate range as of right now. And of course, if you want to customize it, if you want your own hotel and you want extra stuff, of course, everything has its price.
And then the second question was, how you mentioned that Palestinians with German passports, they don't let them back into Palestine to visit. Um,
Right.
Some of our friends here who are online, Colin, myself, others, we are very active publicly. Our names
Right.
out there, and so, like, do you know if we know that Israel blocks many people from coming in, famous people like Rashida Tlaib and many others. But do they also block, just let's say ordinary activists like myself from coming in
I've
as
heard
well?
stories where they have, but it's quite rare. It's also what you say at the airport. If you come to the airport and you're like, die hard, I'm coming to stay in the West Bank and to support Palestinians, they're most likely not going to let you in. If you come and just play it off, just be like, I'm here to visit, just see the beaches, and just see, play it off. Like you can't come with them. I'm sorry to say, like you can't come and be like full on yourself at the airport. That's just not how it works. But I can promise you that the experience, as soon as you get out of the airport till the moment you come back to the airport, will be fully Palestinian led, fully supporting Palestinians. But at the airport, you can't come and say, with your kufiyya on and come and say, like, I'm here to support Palestinian farmers. But I do have a friend who does documentaries about Palestine. He has like 200 and something thousand followers on Instagram, and he was let in multiple times. And I'm even shocked. Like how do they still keep letting you in? Like, he comes and he stays in the West Bank and he's doing documentaries. His name is all over the place. His name is Charles McBride. got like 200,000 followers. He's still doing stuff, videos about Palestine. They still let him in. There's another guy, Andre. Maybe you've seen some of his
Yeah.
videos. He's here. Like he's left and come back as well. So it can happen. Again, I can't guarantee anything. I've heard stories of people for much less than where he's Jewish. I don't know that he's Jewish. Not Charles McBride, for sure not Jewish. But I don't know about I don't know. I actually don't know.
Yeah, I think
Um,
Audrey has mentioned in his videos that he is Jewish, but I'm not
okay,
100% sure
okay.
either.
That could be a reason.
Yeah.
That could be a reason. But I mean, they also assault their own people when they go against them. I mean,
Oh
I've
yeah.
been in situations where also the fight in between the religious Jews that are against Zionism that live here. Only a few days ago, I saw them clash. Maybe you saw some videos online about
Yeah.
them, but they were just it was right in front of me. Like I was trying, it was right in front of me, and and so basically they could assault their own people. So it's not really I can't guarantee that. I can't guarantee that, if you're an activist and they look through some stuff but they're not checking everyone, I'm still let in. I post, I not too much because I'm worried about not being able to visit my parents. But I've seen people, also my friend who I told you speaks at universities, like he's got videos on YouTube, him speaking for hours about the occupation and what it does to daily life. He's still let in. I'm shocked. Also, his last name is Nasrallah, and I'm like, I don't know how they're not checking you and just like, honestly. Also, watch his talks if you have the time. His name is Maz Nasrallah.
Hmm.
But he's still let in. He just got married recently. Another friend of mine is a director of a nonprofit that for Palestine as well speaks all over the world. His videos are on YouTube, and he still goes in and out on a monthly basis. So it's again same answer. Sorry if I'm prolonging the answer, but it's a case by case situation. Um, of course, again, main point is don't come in and say, I'm here to just see the Palestinian struggle. Just come, be like, hey, I want to take some time off and visit the beach.
Yeah.
Experience some culture, different cultures, see Jerusalem. I've heard about Jerusalem. I want to see Jerusalem.
Yeah.
You gotta do it that way. You can't come, as yourself for like an hour.
Right. And we also had Sam Stein speak a few months ago. He does similar work to Audrey. I forget Audrey's last name. And he has a bunch of YouTube videos. He's in and out too. He's also Jewish.
Yeah.
And um, the so Um, I also have Palestinian friends who visit the West Bank, Ramallah, other villages, and they go through Jordan. Is
Mm-hmm.
that option also available? What are the better options for international tourists? Yeah.
So, some people think it makes a difference that they're not going to pay Israeli taxes if they go through Jordan. That's not true. You're going to pay Israeli taxes whether you go through Jordan or the airport. It's the same exact thing, except the airport is just much easier. The easiest way, if you're really, really worried about activism and them, picking you out, is cruises. There's plenty of cruises that stop at the Haifa port, and those are very, very less checked than airports in through Jordan. But I personally would recommend just the airport. Just fly into Tel Aviv, and then as soon as you get picked up from Tel Aviv by a Palestinian driver, your experience will be fully Palestinian rather than just that moment at the airport. And it's very unfortunate. I wish there were ways around it. But, you just kind of, another thing Paul said, because while doing the interviews, that came up a lot. A lot of people said, I don't want to spend a single dollar. I don't want to give a single shekel to Israel. Why would I fly into the airport? And he gave me the answer of like, compare the Palestinian economy to the Israeli economy. Like spending $10 in the Israeli economy is not going to do anything. They're one of the largest economies, by coming to Palestine and giving $100 to a Palestinian family, that will make their month, if not longer. So it's thank you for confirming, Muhammad. So it's you're giving a little bit to gain a much needed support for Palestinians, especially after the war, where many shops haven't been visited in ages, many places have shut down, many bakeries stopped selling because there's no money for people to buy, and there's no money for people to produce. Um, Israeli economy is booming, can only really stop them through serious international intervention and sanctions. I completely agree. I'm just focusing on the fact that you'll be coming to the airport and there's taxes when you come to the airport. You're going to be supporting them, but the effect you're going to have on the Palestinians' lives and the families you meet is far greater and not even comparable to this to what you're going to give to the Israeli economy by just arriving at the airport and leaving from that airport as well.
Thank you. There was also a question from Mahmoud for a Tunisian. Can we also come? Like, yeah, are there any issues
I
for?
don't think so. I can double check with the guides. The guides have more experience in that. I don't think so, unfortunately.
Okay, so
I
like,
can look into it more, and then you can write me a message on the website, and I'll get back to you.
okay,
But from just the top of my head, I don't feel like I've seen a Tunisian here. I don't think they have relationships with Israel. So I don't think so.
okay, and not even through Jordan.
I will have to check.
Okay.
I haven't met a Tunisian here, which is where my answer is coming from.
Hmm.
But yeah, there's definitely no relationships with Israel, but I don't know if you can go through Jordan straight to the West Bank without Israel intervening and saying no, because Israel controls those borders as well. It's not like they just let you do whatever you want. They're in everything.
Yeah. So, and then so between the Jordan option and Tel Aviv option, you would recommend the Tel Aviv option to make things
Yes,
easier.
because I used to think when I was younger that Jordan, then you don't pay the Israeli taxes, but they're the exact same thing, and it's just much easier and much cheaper to do it through the airport.
Okay. And then,
Obviously, try not to choose an airline that's Israeli. Don't fly Al or Bluebird or Isra Air, like those are Israeli, but there
right,
are airlines that are not Israeli that fly into Tel Aviv, so we would pick those
right.
and be able to come.
Yeah. And then, like, I'm guessing my Palestinian friends probably go through Jordan because Israel probably would not allow them to go through Tel Aviv. Oh, um, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, Salman, we hear you. I do believe the problem from Boulous.
Okay, okay. All right.
That's the condition being there in Gaza and Palestine.
Mm,
So I do believe that it's the same for anyone in Gaza wants to join and to see Jerusalem and the West Bank. I do believe at least he needs to travel according to the Egypt borders and thinking another nationality, Brazilian or Canadian, then go with another nationality after 4 or 5 years. I'm not sure about that.
okay.
Hello?
Yeah, we lost you for a second. We can
Yeah,
hear
I
you
don't know
now.
what happened there.
Yeah. All right.
Sorry,
Okay.
you were saying someone was talking. I don't know what happened. It just cut off.
Yeah.
I thought it was for everyone.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So I think we don't have any more questions. So that was very insightful. And it definitely made a lot of things, huh?
Sorry, I just read. Hope you didn't get swatted.
Yeah, no, we're glad you didn't get swatted. Yeah.
No, no, I'm still here, thankfully.
uh, so thank you so much for your time. That was very clear. Like what kind of cost to expect, what kind of security concerns to think about, and what to expect practically when you land. You know, and things like that, and um, the dealing with the airport authorities, all those things. So thank you so much. That was very clear, and I hope that this will be a great success, inshallah, and you'll have opportunity to have lots of visitors. And I love that the fact that this whole tour is Palestine centric, and Palestine is centered, and Palestinian perspective is centered, and yeah, no bullshit, two sides to the thing, so thank you for that. Um,
Sorry, I got stuck again, but
yeah.
I heard most of it.
No. All right, cool. So the website for Watermelon Tours is just simply watermelontours.com. I'll put it in the chat, and all the members will get an email afterwards as well with the video. So check out watermelontours.com. Thank you so much for being here,
Thank
Boulous.
you so much.
Yeah.
And you can send me an email. You can send me an email on the website as well. It'll come straight to my personal email. You can also book the interview if you're interested in coming. So we can talk a little bit more about what you're expecting and how I can shape the tour based on your needs as well. Thank you, me.
Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate all of
Of
you.
course.
Thank you. See you in
Of
two
course.
weeks.
You're welcome. Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.